Lip Service is brought to you by C2E2, Chicago, Illinois, April 24th and 26th. Click on the banner below to reserve your tickets today. C2E2, the con the fans deserve. Starting. Okay. Well, folks, welcome to Lip Service live as it happens. So if I crash and burn, you will be the first to see it as it happens. I am your host, Statch Jenkins, and a brief synopsis about what Lip Service is all about. Lip Service is the show about comics. We don't talk about the major publishers because they already got their exposure. We're finding the up-and-comers, the ones who actually, as far as I'm concerned and as far as we're concerned, really move the industry. The independents, the self-pressers, the small pressers, however you want to call it. That's who we follow. That's who we grab. So that way they can get the exposure and talk about people and talk about what they love and do. And also, if you all also want to join in on this, at any given point in time, go right ahead. We always have it to where you can always ask a question or two via Google, whatever the case is. Any given point in time you want to chime in, go right on ahead, because that's what we're here for. Okay, and we are now going to introduce our guest, Amanda Golden, and she is originally with Steampunk Originals. So Amanda, welcome to Lip Service.
Glad to be here.
Okay, now Amanda, how did you get started in comics in the first place?
Comics?
Yes.
It kind of started with manga, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a lot of Sailor Moon as a kid, and I started reading the comics, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. And I got a little bit into American comics. I'm not really into the mainstream ones like Batman or Superman and any of that stuff.
Okay.
But that's how it all started, really. I liked how it was more visual.
Mm-hmm.
Visual storytelling, and like with the comics you can really make things more dramatic, you know, things exploding that aren't supposed to explode.
Right.
And this really appealed to me, so I wanted to make my own. Okay.
Now, and the one thing I had to let some of our viewers know is, if you don't know, right now manga is Japanese comics. So and the premise behind the mangas is slightly different than what you see in the mainstream publishers, or I should say here in the States. And what I can also say is this: with manga, the genre is wide open. You can make a manga just about everything and anything, and over there you can get your gamut of everything. In fact, a lot of your popular Saturday morning shows, which are no longer there thanks to certain people wanting to be educational and informational for whatever reason, stem from mangas in the first place, like your Dragon Ball Z manga, Yu-Gi-Oh manga. In fact, a lot of the stuff that you see on anime and everything stems from the manga. So you got the you came in with the non-marketing aspect of it. So now from here, what have you produced recently, since now you have had a taste of being, of liking, and now you're into actually doing it?
Well, when I first started, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for fine arts, so I was used to drawings and paintings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met Mike Sneedler, the guy doing Steampunk Originals.
Uh-huh.
And he just kind of like showed me what to do, like how to make my drawings into comics.
And
so
yeah, go ahead. And what was that? And so what was the process that he showed you?
Basically, like formatting. Like I thought you could just draw a comic on a piece of paper and hand it in, and voila, it's a comic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be precise. You have to have the bleed border.
Uh-huh.
You have to have the margins. All the lines have to be straight. All the files have to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more story, too. Like, you can't just draw a pretty picture and say it's a comic. You have to have, like, a beginning, a middle, and an ending. It all has to keep the viewer's attention, but it has to make sense. It can't be too complicated. There's a lot of important things I didn't even know until I started working with Steampunk Originals.
Okay. Now, my next question is were you overwhelmed in finding out all this stuff, finding what work you had to actually go through?
A bit, yeah. Just because I didn't know what to do. Once I knew what to do, then it was fun. I had it.
So now, okay, and with that process, is it okay? You're saying it's fun now. When you first started and everything, and saw the process, I guess the question is, were you did it actually scare you from producing?
No, actually made me want to produce more, I think.
Okay.
Because it gave my what I was doing for fun a purpose, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So with all this, I want to figure out so I can do it more.
Okay. Now my next question is, what is the major difference between manga and steampunk? But before you answer that, could you explain to our audience what steampunk is actually, because it is actually a genre?
Yeah, steampunk is, I guess it's a combination of like futuristic technology, but in the past.
Okay.
So it's like cowboys and old Victorian time. Everything's very glamorous and old-fashioned, but you have robots walking around.
Okay.
That's the best way for me to describe it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now to me, steampunk actually comes around like it to me is almost it kind of combines with what is that with manga. So for you, did your manga background make it easy for you to adjust to steampunk?
I think it did. I think I combined manga with like a splash of a little American comic in there.
Uh-huh.
Worked out really good with steampunk to have a lot of that Japanese manga flavor, because it's all about like being flamboyant, you know, big guns, big technology, and that's what manga's all about, being big and over-exaggerated.
Okay. And I definitely understand that, you know. Now when you finally started producing and getting your work out there, what kind of reception did you receive? Because let's face it, you know, I'm gonna call a spade here. The industry is very male dominated. So my question to you is, how was your work received in a primarily male dominated industry and audience?
It is a little bit tough, because I purposely make my manga, or not manga, make my comics very feminine.
Uh-huh.
And characters are always strong female characters.
Mm-hmm.
I like to add a lot of patterning, a lot of little girly frills everywhere. And a lot of my readers, they said that it was pretty,
Uh-huh.
They didn't really get into the story, I guess, and I don't know. It's hard to find a balance between being feminine and like appealing to a wide variety of male and female viewers.
Okay, so the question my next question is, have you found that balance, or are you still searching for that right combination?
I believe I found that balance. I figured if you add like violence with the frills, men can get into it because you got all that, badassery, all exciting battle scenes, and then the girls could appreciate it because it's more visually appealing to females, and it's not about, manpower.
Okay.
I think I found a good balance.
Okay. Now, which I find kind of interesting that you would say the violence, because that seems to be one of the things here in the States that some people want to, if they could, anything that has the slightest little hint of violence, they're ready to stamp out and label evil, or you're creating the next the next Jeffrey Dahmer or something like that. So with your work, what regions have you found that has most accepted what you're doing?
Basically, if you go in the web universe, you can be as violent as you want,
Okay.
And most of my work has been web-based, web comics. So I never really ran into a problem with my things being too violent.
Okay. Now, and have you found the being on the web, presenting your work on the web a lot easier versus trying to do it in print?
Well, there's pros and cons. With the web stuff, you're less likely to make a buck. Everybody wants things for free on the internet, but it's also a good way to reach out to a lot of people.
Okay.
So I find you have a good balance. Like, you have maybe like some samples for free that people can read. They'd be more likely to pay money for a print. Right.
Okay. So now, through Steampunk Originals, what have you produced? What's the story? What is the story actually?
The story of how I started, or the story of the stories that I'm making?
Actually, let's do both. Let's be adventurous.
All right. Well, how I first got into the group Steampunk Originals is back in Volume 5. I was on LinkedIn, which is a business website. It's kind of like a business Facebook.
Right.
And he put an announcement on a comic book creators group that I was in, saying that he was doing a group that were looking for artists. So I hopped on that gravy train. And Volume 5 is when I started, and my piece did not make the final cut because I didn't know what I was doing. It was mostly technical issues. I didn't have the borders right or anything. I had the files crushed wrong.
Okay.
But he re-invited me to work with him again on Steampunk's Volume 8, which is the final volume, and it's underway right now, due to finish on December 13th, I believe. And I have 3 works going into that. I have a 1-pager called The Baby Factory.
Okay.
I have a 7-pager called I Hate Polka Dots. And I'm working on the 4-pager called Emperor's Seed.
Okay. Now, and can you what's the words? And then from there, can you actually tell us a very brief synopsis about each one that's going into this upcoming volume?
Sure. My first one, Baby Factor, is just like a little gag comic. I'm not going to tell you the punchline. And the second one is called I Hate Polka Dots. It's set in the Old West, and this bounty hunter, she's sent to this village because the village is taken over by this maniac that makes everybody wear polka dots. It makes the town be covered in polka dots.
Okay.
And it's the bounty hunter's job to take care of that problem. And then my third one, The Emperor's Teeth. The Emperor takes his, what's it called? His war advisor's sister for his courtesan. So, his advisor fights back. It's a pretty brief summary, but I've just set up. It's only a 4-pager.
So now, so with steampunk, you can make it as long and as short as you want.
It's 1 to 16 pages.
Okay, 1 to 16. Okay, that's not so bad.
No.
Not bad at all. So, so now with what you were saying, with the with your first try in submissions, everything was due to technical issues. What were those technical issues? Was it more so about the art, or was it more so about the composition?
It was about, I guess, the composition.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to do any of the fancy stuff, so I used paint.
Okay.
Paint to make the word bubbles and make the borders, and the borders were all off measurement, and margins were uneven, and it didn't look right and published.
Okay. So basically you had to actually learn how to get the technical aspects of actually, I had to say you actually had to learn the template for producing a comic for producing a comic book, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The template's much different than a manga template, so it was a little hard to learn at first.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, because I know with the manga, first of all, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time and not comic book gurus, I will say, mangas read from back to front and read from right to left, because 9 times out of 10 they're written in Japanese and they read right to left. Also, with manga, a lot of times the art is, I had to say the art style is slightly different than what you're used to. If you know anime art, 9 times out of 10 you know manga, and a lot of the manga artists actually use tones, which are the spectacular backgrounds, where if it were on a video, if you had a nervous twitch, you would probably go into an epileptic shock right afterwards. You know, because a lot of tones in Pokemon and stuff like that were actually causing people here and in Japan to go into epileptic seizures during the program. And when Pokemon first came over here, the American media was surprisingly, not surprisingly to me, were one of the first ones to jump on that, talking about, oh, this show is going to cause your children to have seizures and blah blah blah. And most parents were scared to let the kids watch Pokemon for fear of this, you know. And I just find it kind of crazy that they even took that stance. But I've read a few mangas and everything, and a lot of the paneling over there is more, I would say, liberal. Yeah, liberal to fit the scene and fit the tone of what's going on. Unlike here, everything is unfortunately so regimented. It's kind of funny that you have to sit up here and try to cram a nice story into anywhere between 6 to 8 panels. And so for you, how was that transition? Knowing that you have to actually confine your story art-wise into a couple of pages.
It's a little difficult. I guess the best way to do it is I created stories that didn't have a lot of dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that way the story could get across as something simple,
Okay.
Few words and everything gets across simply. Versus like a big story, all this complicated detail and stuff, that would require a lot of words, and it just looks bad. You
Okay.
have too much dialogue in a short comic. So
Right.
the best way to cram it into a smaller space and more rigid borders is just to keep it simple.
Okay. So then my next question about you is with your keeping the dialogue down to a minimum, did that force you to have to really look into what you were drawing as far as your backgrounds, your characters, all that?
It made a big difference because you have to really show everything you can in that panel. Instead of having a speech person, you have all the background that they need to have their information, and a lot more movement to show the speech and what's going on. Sometimes it even helps to have 2 movements in one panel.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're talking to somebody forward and then they're talking to somebody next to them, you can have it 2 heads with emotion to show it all in one panel instead of 2 separate panels.
Okay. And so basically, for you, literally, you had to keep. You really had to tell your story within the background and within the characters. So the next question is, for your characters, you literally had to draw more emotion into your characters in order to get your point across.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think it's a good challenge for me. I learned a lot about expressions and stuff doing this, since I had to draw much more expression
Mm-hmm.
and movement on my characters. I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, yeah, and because to me, one of the great artists who, to me, some within the industry would say he was a hack, but I think John Kirby, in his day, really showed really put how to draw characters with emotion. To actually show grief, to show anger, and to draw the musculature facially, and body-wise to bring that emotion out. That's one of the things I can truly say that I have seen in a lot of manga art. They will sit there and figure out a way to bring that emotion out within the pictures. So I think for you that kind of helped you big time. So now you're, because we know that the final one is coming out in a couple of weeks, correct?
It'll be being made in a couple of weeks.
Oh, it's being made in a couple of weeks. Okay. And so
Too and 3 are currently out. The other volumes aren't going to be out for another few months.
Another few months. Okay. So, so where can people find your work currently within Steampunk Originals, and when can they expect the future ones to be out?
My personal work, samples of it will be out on the Steampunk Originals Volume 8 Facebook page, along with a few other artists. Mm-hmm. They have some of their works being posted, samples of it for viewers to see. Mm-hmm. And once the novel comes out, Steampunk's Volume 8, it will be available on Barnes & Nobles and Amazon and lots of other websites, book-selling websites.
Okay.
So basically any bookstore.
Oh, well, that helps a whole lot, and hopefully, well, it does. I mean, one of the things that for most independents to get their work out, it is a chore, basically, seeing how there's pretty much only one distributor in the game, although their lawyer said that there isn't. However, you talk to any comic bookstore about where they get their comics from, and it's only one name and one name only that they'll mention.
Yep.
And and if that's not a monopoly, FTC, I don't know what is. Screw their lawyers and all that fancy mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
So now, so from here, we're going to kind of wrap this up. So what words would you give to another up-and-coming Amanda Golden who is thinking about jumping into this for the very first time?
I think the best advice I can give is try to learn what you're doing before you jump into the boat. And don't be afraid to take on any opportunity that comes. I've had some pretty crappy odd jobs doing comics for other people, and most of the time it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But I learned a lot from it, so it's worth it.
Well, that's true. Now, the other thing I wanted to be before we wrap this up is how have you handled the criticism jumping into this? Seeing how you've come from not knowing what you're doing to all the way to now. How have you been able to deal with the criticism saying, okay, this is not good enough, that's not good enough, and here's what you need to do?
Well, main criticism I first dealt with when I started going into comics is that all my art professors didn't see comics as an art form. Uh-huh. So for something that was comic-esque, they'd be like, what is this? This is terrible. This is bullcrap.
Okay.
This isn't art. So my main critics were my professors and all my friends at my art school. But once I took the big dive and started really getting into drawing comics, mm-hmm. From the comic side, I had a lot of people saying my comics were a little too artsy, mm-hmm. a little too loose with my drawings, and you just gotta take the good for the bad, It doesn't. If you're not gonna listen to the insults, then sometimes you're just gonna keep getting them. Take them with a grain of salt, and sometimes listen. It might be worth it.
Okay. Yeah, that's true too, and it sounds like really you were catching it from both ends. And listeners and viewers, this has been one of my main gripes to begin with. The stigma about comic art is from one end, from the aristocratic end. Oh, this is not art, and then when you try to, without going to the art schools and going to the professors and learning how to do all this, find art stuff, then we go to the other side. It's too artsy. It's too this. Art is art, period. No matter where you learn it from. Okay, a lot of the great ones went through fine arts and came back. A lot of other people. I mean, one of the first things you got to learn is anatomy. You cannot learn that doing at Comix U. You actually have to go to an art school or draw your ass off to know that an arm is supposed to look like an arm and the muscles behind the musculature of the arm. You know, and for our professors to sit up here and say this is bullcrap is akin to literally a symphony composer wanting to say that blues is nothing more than jungle music. You know, and that's realistically a pretty sad thing. So, but I digress, and we have been talking to Amanda Golden of Steampunk Originals. She has her work out there with previous volumes of Steampunk Originals, and with the upcoming months, she will have more work out there. Oh, and also, is there a personal website where people can find your work?
Oh, yes. Let me get that for you real quick.
Okie dokie.
I just made it, so... let's see. My website is... Stupid computer.
Okay.
Alright. It is agold705 .wix, which is wix.com/bunnystudios.
Okay. So if they could go to wix.com and under Bunny Studios, they should be able to find you.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And not to mention, viewers and listeners, that you can also find her work on the Steampunk Originals Facebook page, and I'm quite certain they also probably have a Pinterest page as well. And as with anything, when you see the artwork for the very first time, don't try to compare it with anybody else because they're not as anybody else. They're presenting their work, their style, their way. You can find correlations in somebody else's artwork, fine, but the key is, and this is what we've always seen here, the lip service is to keep it open. First and foremost. So, Amanda, thank you so much for being a guest on Lip Service, and hopefully if we can within the next couple of months, we can come back and hopefully follow up with your upcoming releases and see how well. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it seems we were losing a connection a little bit.
Okay. Well, I was saying that hopefully we can come back in a couple of months and see see your newest releases and see what you're doing.
Hopefully, my new webcomic should be out by then too.
Okay, and what's your new webcomic? What's the title of that one?
My webcomic is going to be called Me and My. The first chapter will be out January 5th. That's the due date.
Okay.
I'm going to post it on my website on the date. And within the next month after that date, I will be posting it on a few e-reading websites for free if you want to read it.
Cool. That's half the battle right there. And so folks, right now, once again, we were talking to Amanda Golden, Steampunk Originals. She's got a lot of stuff going on, and within the next couple of months, she'll have a new webcomic out. I hope and encourage you to go out and reach out. If not to Amanda, maybe to Kiss Me Comics. If not Kiss Me Comics, there are a lot of independents out there that are doing. They're talking. They're not just talking, and they're out here doing what they love. So from here, I am your host, Stash Jenkins, and and we'll be right back with a couple of extra words from our YouTube portion and everything. And this is a reminder that this portion here is going to be on podcast, and this is going to be it as far as the podcast is concerned. If you want the extended coverage, you will actually have to go over to our YouTube channel, KissMeComics.com. YouTube.com/KissMeComics. Look under lip service to get the extra content. It's not going to happen here unless we're at a con or something. And speaking of cons, come November 15th, we will be at TCS Con in Orland Park. Somewhere in here, you will hear the audio commercial. And in the show, you will see the video portion of it as well. And if you want to be part of that, come on out and join us. But once again, for anything else, this is it. So once again, Amanda, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
This portion was brought to you by C2E2, coming up in April 24th to the 26th in Chicago, McCormick Place North Building. You can get your tickets today. Click on the link below or copy and paste into your web browser. Get your tickets now before they run out. C2E2, the con that you, the fans, deserve.
I'm reviewing Escape from Dino Isle by Supercilious Comics. Okay, basically what I can say in a nutshell is this. This book is all about basically, I would have to say Weight Watchers meets Jurassic Park. The main premise behind this is 6 contestants who desire to lose weight in a dramatic way get sent to this island full of reanimated dinosaurs, a la a process that reeks of, well, to me it's kind of like Jurassic Park. And right off the top, one of the main things I noticed about this book is that one of the main people get eaten right off the top. And the other thing I wanted to make mention is that the credits. You see that Diablos and Lovelace, Chun, and the lettering is done by HDE, a colleague that I've met over through Facebook and other sources, and I hope to get him. He's a letterer, and I've been trying to get him on the show, and hopefully soon I will get the chance. Okay. Right off the top, one of the first things you notice is the artwork. They use a very actually the book is laid out basically 3 to 4 main panels, and the bottom is reserved for huge splash scenes, very decorative, decorative, dramatic scenes down at the bottom. The other thing I like is the coloring is digital, I do believe, but it's not overdone. You know, I say in a minute, I'm not a fan of the of digital coloring. I do believe that it is a tool. It's, you know, and I'm not saying people are skilled with it, but still, I'm old school. You know, but that's just my opinion. But with this particular book, the coloring is done very nicely and everything. The story flows very nicely. Also, the big panels down at the bottom are used very, very wisely to bring points and dramatic and the highlights and the points of each page. And those are the characters that you see there. So basically, this book is, I rate it very nicely. The colors are nice. The one thing that I liked about it right off the top was the dinosaur itself. that was drawn very nicely. Using Photoshop and everything, pretty much brought things to the fore and whatnot. But I can truly say that it was well worth it. The other thing is that brought this that makes this book special is the to me is one of the underwater scenes, done very nicely, and really just for a first time Zero book, is nicely done. Backgrounds are used when was important to have backgrounds and everything. Now, one thing I do have to say is this: for those of you who are looking for a kid-friendly book, there are some swear words in here, so I would just because I'm old-fashioned and I have kids, I would not recommend it for younger readers under the age of 14 or 15, because once again, it is dealing with swearing. The other thing is that, granted, there isn't a whole lot of blood, guts, and gore, except for maybe 1 or 2 pages. Dealing with overweightness and everything may pose some issues for younger readers to deal with, especially if they already are in that category. So that may pose a problem. Also, if you're weight conscious, this may not be the book for you, because these people are overweight, most of them are overweight, trying to lose weight. Now, to me, the main premise is basically these people have been brought to this island to be dinosaur chow. Well, I mean, why else would you bring, especially with the main guy talking as cryptic as he does? He gives me the premise that, okay, we're going to bring these people under the premise of losing weight, but basically what happens to them is they're going to become dinosaur chow, and they practically sign their lives away off to it. So to me, that just pretty much brings everything to the fore. What can I say? And so I don't know exactly when the next one is coming out. Hopefully, we will get the writer Adrian Grayson on lip service to let us know exactly when the next one is coming out, and hopefully we can get spoilers. So I would highly recommend this book because if one is a different genre. We're talking about dinosaurs and people fighting for their lives. So right off the top, it's if you're looking for something different, aside from the capes, the mutants, and everything else, this Escape from Dino Island by Supercilious Comics is right for you. Okay, and also down below, in the description, there will be a link to where you can get a copy of Escape from Dino Island, and we'll also have resources to where you can reach Supercilious directly to give them praise and give them one-ups and all that good kind of stuff. So from here, this I would recommend it. This is a grabber, must get. You gotta get it. And so if you are a creator and you want your book reviewed here on Lip Service, email us lipservice@kccomics.com, and we will set up you send us a copy. Please send it in PDF. I would love, although I'm old-fashioned, I would love to have a hard copy. We just don't have the room for all that, and we will try to get that. We'll try to get the review up as quickly as possible, and And further, if you want to be part of our show, also email us so that way we can set up an interview so we can discuss your work, your project, your book more in depth. And we'll be right back with probably either Akira or final words. This has been the book review section of Lip Service. Oh, by the way, we need a name for this section, so if you can come up with a name, email it to us. But don't forget to like and subscribe with the show. We'll be right back. Lip Service is brought to you by C2E2, Chicago, Illinois, April 24th and 26th. Click on the banner below to reserve your tickets today. C2E2, the con the fans deserve.